table at a cafe and just watch the world go by. Except those outdoor tables always wobble, don't they? It should be really relaxing, but all you can think about is that wobbling table. Well, imagine if outdoor tables never wobbled again.
Oh, come on up here. Yes, come on.
Wobbly sloping tables are a real problem for cafes.
My invention will keep your table level and stable, even when the ground is rough and sloping.
Flat is a levelling and stabilising system. The table has been fitted with a small water reservoir in each foot. These are linked together by a system of hoses. The system works automatically every time you position the table. When the first foot touches the ground, it pushes water out of the reservoir into the hoses. This pushes the other feet down until each one reaches the ground. Lifting the table unlocks the system, so when it's placed in a new position, it automatically readjusts.
And it's not just cafe tables that can use my system. It can be applied to everything from portable buildings, ladders, and even white goods.
Please welcome from Sydney, Tony Pike. Hi, Tony, don't get up. Have a seat. In fact, you've already had one lovely seat with the tie. And you should have worn a tie. I feel terrible. The inspiration for this actually came from sitting at a cafe table.
Yeah, a friend of mine about 12 years ago owns a Bondi restaurant, and he spilt the coffee, and as he was trying to level the table off, he looked up at me and said, "Whoever solves this will be a billionaire. It's a nightmare."
A billionaire?
Yes, yes.
Are you?
And I thought, I want to be.
But you're not yet. Well, look, this is a model your father made, in fact.
Oh, he's very clever, yeah.
You can see there that this is deliberately an uneven surface. So if I give it a quarter turn and put it down, then bang, look at that, no worry. But then if you just let it settle, then look at that. There you go.
Don't break it, Dad'll get you.
Yeah, OK, sorry. And a fixed level of fluid goes between the four legs.
And then, this is just a conceptual aid, but there's locking mechanisms inside each cylinder, or you can put them in the hoses, that will then, once the final leg touches down, lock the system in place so it can't adjust like this table now, so...
Right. Well, conceptually, it was a great aid, but let's have a look at a proper table. Now, if we rotate... So this is an uneven surface. There's all sorts of cobblestones. If we rotate this a quarter of a turn or something...
Yep.
And then put it down...
Just place it down, you'll see the...
And you can sort of... You can feel it.
This one will cope with the sloping ground and the uneven surface in the same go.
Come across and sit down. Now, for example, for that table, how much money would it cost to set it up with your invention?
Well, at this point in time, we'd probably be selling to the table manufacturers for about $10.
$10? Wow. What do you think, Chris?
I think it's a fascinating idea. I'm wondering, when you're sitting at taking the table example for a start, and someone leans on one side or puts a heavy tray down and puts more weight on, is that going to... Does it kind of change it?
They're not just cylinders, there's a smart system inside. So once the weight of the application is transferred into that fluid system, then there's locking mechanisms inside, and they will lock all the cylinders in place.
And what releases it?
As soon as you lift the table off.
If you lift just one leg because of the weight, doesn't matter, the other three stay locked.
Yeah, some we won't. Some will make sure for safety reasons on different applications where you can't just by lifting one leg adjust. But for things like fridges or washing machines where it's easier just to push on one side and adjust it, yeah, just as soon as one leg comes off the ground, all 4 or 10 or whatever of the cylinder locks will release, allowing minor adjustments to be made as well.
But you know, the thing that fascinates me about this is not so much the table thing, which is a good practical idea, but it's the other application potential. Things like a helicopter, for example. Now, if a helicopter comes in, I mean, helicopter I used to be in a helicopter squadron at one stage, and they're paranoid about landing on uneven ground. They spend, you know, they're jigging around with. If you could actually have the runners adjust, is that possible?
Oh, yeah, definitely with helicopters, but also we've just had some interest from a UAV, the unmanned vehicle helicopters that the military use.
Yeah. Sally, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to go back to the cafe table. Amazing looking technology. But cafe table gets a lot of knocking around. If I grabbed the cafe table and went bang and slammed it down all 4 legs at once, would the water go boom, boom, and explode in the middle?
I'm 120 kilos, and just before I pulled this particular prototype's got just latex bladders in there, which are cheap, and we'd use different, like natural rubber would be a lot better, but I actually jumped up and down on that, and I hate to think what sort of force that was inflicting.
And how about, do you have to build it in at the beginning stage of the product, or can you do some sort of platformy thing that you could retrofit?
For ease, to actually manufacture the units and conceal them inside the cylinders so that there's no, you know, lateral or direct forces, because they're just plastic. So, you know, and if they're just concealed inside a telescopic system, then, you know, it's much safer, and it's also, you know, aesthetically a lot more pleasing.
Veena?
Is there a maximum limit, weight limit, that your system could in fact take?
Well, not really. No, I mean, hydraulics, it's hydraulics, so I mean, basically...
The components themselves,
it's just a matter of engineering to suit. So if you've got a 50-ton building that you want to level off, then obviously you wouldn't use plastics. You'd go to, you know, high tensile steels and...
So you'd have to basically take that aspect into consideration depending upon different weights.
Most applications, you'll have to re-engineer the whole system to suit that particular application.
Summing up, Chris?
I think you've got a lot of phone calls ahead of you to talk to a lot of people.
Sally?
Yeah, look, I mean, as long as it's all watertight and it's never going to sort of cop a hard knock and spring a leg, it's brilliant.
Veena?
With so many different applications, the world is your market, so well done, Tony.
I hope so.
They didn't like it, did they?
No, not
Please
really.
thank Tony Pike. Well done.
Thanks,
Thank you very much, man. It's fantastic.